Nothing gets Eagles fans going like a perceived weakness at corner. Ronald Darby's received a lot of criticism after the Eagles dropped to 1-1, falling to the Falcons Sunday night. Some of that criticism has not been warranted, however. On Calvin Ridley's long touchdown, although he was the closest defender in coverage, it was actually a bust by Andrew Sendejo next to him that opened up the big play. The Eagles are running a mixed coverage on this play. They've got half the field playing zone and half the field playing man. You can see Ronald Darby aligned off and outside on the bottom part of the screen, and also on that side you have Malcolm Jenkins and Nigel Bradham as the underneath zone defenders, and Chris Maragos taking a quarter of the field along the right hand seam. On the opposite side you have a two-man concept with Rasul Douglas and Avonte Maddox matched up in press 1-on-1. Behind them you have Rodney McLeod, who's playing a deep half on that side of the field. That allows Jim Shorts to double Julio Jones. He can use Douglas with McLeod over the top, preventing any of those easy completions into probably the NFL's best receiver. So let's focus now on the quarters side of the field. Here we've got Ronald Darby on the bottom, taking the outside quarter in the deep zone. Inside him, Sendejo has the inside quarter just one along from him along the right hand seam. However, we have Sendejo jumping up on the shallow crossing tight end, which leaves a big void in the middle of the field for Matt Ryan to hit Ridley on the post. Let's watch it play out. To illustrate the Eagles' struggles with the scheme further, let's take a look at a play from the Washington game. Another of the uses of cover 6 is against Tripp's bunch. It gives you two underneath defenders along with two deep defenders to match up with any possible routes out of this formation. On this occasion, it's the corner on the single wide receiver side who's matched up in man, Ronald Darby on this occasion, with a safety deep. And then on this side, we have two short zones and two deep zones. Let's roll it forward and see how it plays out. So what does this all mean for the Eagles right now, heading into a crucial game against the Detroit Lions at 1-on-1? Well, of course, news has emerged this week that after a bust-up with head coach Doug Marrone, Jalen Ramsey is interested in a trade away from Jacksonville. Jim Shorts looks for three traits in his defensive backs, and I'll argue that Ramsey possesses all three. Those three are physicality, versatility, and playmaking. Let's have a look at his physicality on this play.
Quarterbacks have not pouted and just responding, doing his job.
Screen going nowhere. Jalen Ramsey.
Now let's turn to his playmaking skills. Ramsey was one of the biggest playmakers during his career at FSU. He was constantly around the football, whether in coverage or against the run. He reminds me quite a lot of Charles Tillman, the former Bears cornerback, in the way he's able to attack the football and force fumbles. Let's take a look at this play as an example of his ability to change games. Finally, let's move on to versatility. Jalen Ramsey's been used almost exclusively in the NFL as a perimeter press corner. That makes sense. That position is hugely valuable in the modern NFL with the kinds of receivers that you can come up against. How useful will it have been for the Eagles to be able to single cover Julio Jones more frequently without needing to use a safety over the top as they did early in the game against Atlanta? Sendejo does have some skills. He is a really good special teamer, and it's clear the Eagles value that asset highly, which is completely reasonable. The special teams units are often overlooked when constructing a roster, but if you're going to have that player on the field for, I think it was 30% of snaps against Atlanta and more than that against Washington, then you need a guy who can be competent on the back end. Just watch Ramsey's range here. I truly believe he'd be an all-pro free safety if he was to move there, or even an all-pro strong safety if he moved to that position. Watch him close the ground here. In summary, Ramsey is a generational talent at a position of need and a great schematic fit for what the Eagles ask of their defensive backs. You have to imagine Jim Schwartz is salivating over the prospect of a true defensive matchup piece that he hasn't had in Philadelphia.